Candidate Trump promised that he wasn't going to start wars, he was going to stop them. President Trump has done the exact opposite.
We have a president who is completely incapable and unqualified to handle this crisis that he created.
It's unacceptable.
The Democratic leaders speaking out. Some of that footage from New York today. Leader Jeffries was speaking at Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network conference. He's, of course, the host of Politics Nation here. We've been covering that convention. There's been a lot of newsworthy guests and speakers there. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's start with Jeffries. What did you think of what he said at your convention, as well as what he said there in trying to stand up to a president who's threatening, bragging about war crimes?
I think that it is clear that with Congressman Jeffries, who could be Speaker if the Democrats win, is saying, and what all of the candidates are saying, is that this is a war that was selected, not something that had to happen. We still don't know why we're there. We keep moving the deadlines and the arrangements. And then the other issues that has come up during the Trump presidency warrants the Democrats to really stand up aggressively and fight the normalizing of this. It is not something that we can tolerate in American history to normalize someone that openly flirts with war crimes, if not, in fact, engage in them so far or in the future. And that we have someone that can walk away from firing people just because they will not do his wishes, whether or not those wishes are warranted or even following the law. So we clearly are now at a critical point in American history that's even beyond the parties that are involved, Democrat or Republican. We're at a point in American history where we are dealing with how we deal with the presidency and preserve the integrity of the presidency itself.
Yeah, and we're talking about a speed that we've never seen in the modern era of history. I mean, you have done a lot of work. You walked the walk. There were civil rights organizers and Dr. King who were critical of Vietnam over time. The Iraq War started out with a lot of support in that post 9/11 period, and over years really lost that support. I don't think we've ever seen a U.S. attack on another country be this unpopular this quickly. I want to put up the headline here. The Senate Democrats say they're going to force the war powers vote next week. Jeffries is saying they could recruit just a handful of Republicans in the House and they could get somewhere. It says the Democrats' push precedes the effort to rein in Trump. Congress will return to Washington. They will force the vote on the war powers resolution. What does it tell you, Rev, that Vietnam and Iraq took years to get to the point where you had 55-60% opposition, and then it was still a battle? And here, we're already there.
We're already there, probably because there's enough people that remember Vietnam. Certainly, I was a teenager then, I remember it. And then there are many more that remember Iraq. And at least in Iraq, we were looking for weapons of mass destruction. We know now that the nuclear arms that they said that Iran was hiding or was on the precipice of gaining is false. And you have a reference point now with Iraq saying, wait a minute, we've seen this before, weapons of mass destruction, be scared, and it ended up not being true. Now you have no evidence that this is any different. I think that this is going to be probably what history would say was the reason that we came to a more immediate conclusion here that we don't belong here, because no one has shown us any reason at all to believe that we were in imminent danger.
You get the heavy hitters at your gathering, not just New Yorkers. They all come in. You said Kamala Harris coming in tomorrow.
Kamala Harris is coming tomorrow. Senator Kennedy's coming tomorrow. Others are coming.
You used to get President Obama, right?
Yes, we've done this for many cycles now.
So the activists and the young Poles who maybe watch the news or watch us on YouTube, they say, all right, you got to look at how Sharpton does it, because this is cycle after cycle. It's you are what they used to call a power broker in this Democratic primary. And I want to play some of the big shots who were talking at your conference today. Let's take a look.
The president authorizing federal forces to roam our streets and saying that we now need to make federal forces guard ballot boxes to avoid fraud.
He's going to try to call out ICE and CBP and scare people away from the polls. everybody. He's going to make it seem like you shouldn't vote. We need to go with purpose and push them out of the way, or at least tell them to get out of the way, and go in and vote.
This is voter suppression. This is political redlining. These are the oldest tricks in the books.
So on the policy, you can tell us who you thought was making important arguments, but on the politics, Rev, who stood out to you? Well, who impressed you?
In the policy, I think they all were on message, and I expect the same tomorrow, and I had the same on Wednesday. I think that people were very enthused around Wes Moore. I think Pritzker was received very well, and I think that we're seeing that it has to be a mixture of more than personality, but personality and policy, who can address the issues in a very direct way that anybody can see it and say, wait a minute, that resonates with me. And that is what you're going to need to get turnout. If you cannot resonate with the people, you can't turn people out until you turn people on.
You mentioned Moore. There was talk about Shapiro. And, of course, we hear a lot about Newsom. Do you think politically Democrats are looking to governors, that they kind of have an inside lane on 28 now?
I think that they're looking for people that can govern. Clearly, we're in a presidency now that does not show it can govern. Shapiro spoke day before yesterday, our first day. He was very well received. They want people that are going to stand up and be very passionate, but at the same time can soberly govern. So we don't need just one that can perform. We need someone that's good in performance, but that is also good in policy. And I think some of these governors are demonstrating that.